Hello everyone. Today we are going to start to make a landscape. A landscape is a picture of the outdoors, usually in nature. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some learning objectives with you, and then we're going to start the project. This is only going to be part one of the project. You will not be turning this into me, but I need you to get at least this far by next Monday, October 5th, so that you'll be ready for the next steps that we're going to do on it. I'm going to just show you a couple examples of ones that I did and where we're going to get to today on it. This first one here is of a farm, and I have a picture of just some houses in the hills. Now, learning objectives are going to be, first of all, I can neatly draw 3 buildings accurately to represent the size and distance between the foreground, the middle ground, and the background. Foreground is where this barn is here. That's closest to the viewer. That's what the foreground is. The background is the part that's furthest from the viewer. In the middle ground, where the storage building is here, that's in between the foreground and the background. Now, it also said, our next objective here, learning objective, is I can use a ruler or other instrument to make straight lines. It's important that we're going to use a ruler for this. I want you to at least try. Some of you are going to be better than others at it. That's no big deal, but I know I've practiced using rulers. For those of you I've had in first grade and second grade, we've practiced using rulers to make straight lines before. So by third grade, I think most of you should be able to do a decent job at it. Also says here, I could add hills and a horizon line to my landscape. Now, what a horizon line is a horizon line is a line when you're in a painting or in a picture drawing that separates the land from the sky. Or if you're doing a seascape, which is like a landscape, but it's actually sketch or picture painting of the sea. It separates the water and the sky. So horizon line on a landscape separates the land from the sky. In a seascape, it separates the sea from the sky. Also says here, I can draw a road or path that looks like it's going back in the distance. As you can see, this road over here, or path, as it gets further away from the foreground, going towards the background, it looks smaller. And also another learning objective is I can understand the vocabulary as it relates to the drawing and the painting. A lot of the vocabulary I already went through with you in this introductory. Only thing I didn't really tell you about is I told you about landscape, seascape. There's also another one which is called a cityscape. Cityscape has to do with an urban place, like downtown Detroit or something. You take if you are taking a picture or painting a picture, drawing a picture downtown and all the buildings down there, that would be a cityscape. And later on in the year, actually, once we get back into the classrooms, I do have plans for us to do a seascape, and I also have plans for us to do a cityscape. So we're going to have a lot to do with outdoor scenes this year, landscapes this year. Anyway, on with the actual picture itself. Now, what you're going to need three things. Gonna need a piece of paper, preferably copy paper like this. Gonna need a ruler for the straight lines, and also if you want to measure some things, and there's gonna be some things there that we're probably gonna do a little bit of measuring on. And you're also gonna need a pencil. I'm gonna use this black colored pencil so you can see what I'm doing up here, but I would prefer you use just a regular pencil and draw everything light so it can be erased if you need to. On with the project here. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by drawing a building in my foreground. And I'm going to start here towards the bottom right-hand side, almost about, well, towards the bottom. Doesn't have to be anything specific. I'm going to start off here towards the left-hand side of the paper. And I'm going to start by making the bottom of this building here. And I'm going to do the same thing over here on this one too. And I want it to be anywhere from about 4 to 5 inches long. 4 to 5 inches long should be good. Now from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up some walls too. The walls themselves, well, on both of mine, I went 3 inches with the walls. You can make yours a little taller if you want, but we got to make room for a roof too. So I'm going 3 inches. I'm going straight up and down. Notice how my pencil is touching my ruler. When you're making straight lines, you got to hold that ruler down with the hand you don't draw with. And you have to make sure that that pencil is right up against the ruler when you're drawing. Otherwise, you're not going to get straight lines. Got mine here like this and here like this. And like I said, they're both about 3 inches high here. Now to get a roof on, what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to go down here to the bottom, that first line I made, and I'm going to find out about where the middle is on this. Now this, because I made mine 4 inches, the middle is 2 inches. And then this one is 5 inches. And so I'm going to make a mark at the 2.5 inch mark. Now, for those of you who don't know, the 2.5 inch mark is, let's see if we can see it here. Now, there's a line on your ruler between 2 and 3, and that right smack in the middle of 2 and 3 would be 2.5 inches. But if you don't know how to measure that, just kind of take a look and find out where the middle of your bottom line is there. Now what I'm going to do from there is I'm going to make another line going straight up and down. You want to make this line light because you're going to erase it later on. But what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to make my roof so the top of my roof is 5 inches from the bottom of my building here. Just like this. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Five inches high, make a straight line like that. And from there, I'm going to do a couple. From there, next thing I'm going to do is this. I'm going to connect, and I could have done this before too, but I'm going to connect my two walls together here, making a straight line going horizontally across over here. Same thing on this side. Straight line going horizontally across like this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the top of my roof here, where the top of my roof is going to be, to where the edge of the house is. And the same thing over here. Going to connect these two, the corner of my wall to the top of the roof with my ruler over here like this. Now for the barn, I actually added on a different step to it. And you don't have to do this, but I'm just going to show you in case you want to do a barn like this. I made my roof a little bit different on the barn. What I did was this, slightly underneath where the top of my roof goes, I made two marks with a ruler. And they were the same amount of space here, going across here. I made two marks, one here, and they're the same amount of space between. I should probably mark them a little bit better so you can see them. They're the same space in between here, between the middle line and where I made this mark over here, as it is where I made the marking over here. Why I did that was this. From the top of my roof, what I did was I made my line here on this barn. I made it go like this first, like this on this side first, like this. And then what I did was connected, or what I'm doing right now, not what I did, but what I'm doing, is I connect this part of the roof to the wall, and back over here connected this part of the roof to the wall too. For my house here, what I did too was I gave it a chimney. I just ran, with my ruler, I just ran another line, actually just from the left edge of my house here. I just continued this line up till it got about even with the top of the roof here. Like that. And then what I did was I slid the ruler over a little bit and made another line going straight up and down, parallel with the line I just made. Parallel means they run in the same way, they're never going to cross. Those are parallel lines. Lines that never cross, they go in the same direction. Then what I did here, or what I'm doing here, is I'm going to just go ahead and connect those two lines together with the ruler. And I got my chimney over there. As far as making windows and doors, what I did with this is I just went ahead and started off my door so that half of the door was on one side of the middle line, half of the door was on the other side of the middle line. You can measure it out if you want. Just make sure there's the same amount of space on one side as there is on the other side. And I made a line going across there like this. And then straight up and down, straight up and down. And I have my door. Now the windows, I lined up the windows so that they were even with the top of the door. Top of these windows on the bottom floor here were even with the door. And I just kind of eyeballed it to see if I had the same amount of space on both sides here. Made a line going up here and up here, about the same size like this. From there, what I did was I took my ruler, brought the line down as far as I wanted to go down. Want these going straight up and down. Just like I did on the door, straight up and down. And then at the bottom here, I connected my two vertical lines together with another horizontal line at the bottom. And I got my windows. For the top story of the house, I kind of lined my window up here so that this window that I'm making now is going to be even with this window. This isn't the way you have to do it. I'm just showing you the way I did it. But I do want at least one house with windows on it. Or one building with windows on it. I lined them up so that the sides of the windows were even with the sides of the windows here. Did the same thing on this side too. So you can see the sides are the same going this way, this way. And then, oh, I did put another window in here too. Now this one I made that was pretty much even with the door. The side of this window is pretty much even with the side of the door. And the same thing on this side over here. Actually, mine and my original drawing were a little bit bigger, but just to make it easy, I made them the same width as wide as the door is. Now what I need to do is I just need to do the bottoms of them. So I'm going to line my ruler up here. I'm going to do the bottom, bottom, and bottom. And how far down or how much space you want to go in between, that's up to you. Or some of you might just want to make a one-story building, and that's okay too. It'll work. I'm just showing you what I'm doing here. Or what I did actually, because I'm tracing what I did before. Okay, and the tops, I want my ruler to go straight across too, so these tops can be even too. Hold the ruler down, pencil right up against the ruler, 1, 2, and 3. Fell a little short there. That got me my windows. Now for the barn, what I did, all I did on the barn here was made a door. Actually, two doors, one here and one here. What I did is I lined them up. I put my ruler straight up and down again. Make sure I'm not blocking anybody off here. In fact, I'm going to do this first one from this side over here. And I made mine about a little less than 2 inches. But however size you want to make's fine. Some of you might not even want to make a barn. I'm just showing you a couple examples. And whatever I did on one side, I want to have the same length on the other side. So I measured it up, put the same length on this side, right up against the ruler again, and then connected the two lines together here. To get the top of the doors. Over here, what I did, I put a window at the top of the barn too here. I made it a tiny window. Doesn't have to be real big. In fact, my window is a half inch this way. Well, I want a 1/4 inch on each side here, but just basically when you're doing, do whatever you do on one side of this, do on the other side, and they'll be even, however big you want to make them. Once again, I said you don't necessarily have to make a window or even a barn, but I'm just showing you what to do here. Another one over here, the same size. And then what I'm going to do is, oh, I forgot to tell you that, actually. I have to do the same size on the sides first. So that would be my first step, doing the sides and then doing the top. I also added a silo over here. Now the way I did that was, first of all, I put a little bit behind the barn, and I just made a straight line with my ruler going like this. Do these like though, because they're not going to remain straight if you're doing a silo. But just for now, I did it like that. I went up, then I went up behind the barn here. In fact, my whole silo is not even showing here. I just made part of a silo. Part of it's going off the page. But I made it go up like this. And across here like this. Once again, real light lines, because if you're doing a silo, you're going to erase them later on. And I'll show you that in a second. And then wherever I wanted the top of my silo to go, I put a little point up here, and then made a line coming from that point up there to where the silo wall meets the roof here. And on the other side, I just angled it off the page like this, because the whole silo is not showing. Now, to give it a little bit more of a round look like silos have, what I did here at the bottom, where I made my line going across the bottom, and I don't think you can even see that from here. I guess I'm going to have to make mine a little bit darker. But what I did was, at the bottom, and again, where the roof and the wall of the silo meet here, is I erased the bottom of that roof here. And what I did was I just curved the line out like this a little bit. To give it a more round look to it. And on the bottom, I did the same thing. I erased the bottom of the silo. And once again, I curved the line a little bit around like this behind the barn and off the side of the paper. And that's giving it a little bit of a rounder look to it. I'm going to show you on that up closer so you can see what I'm talking about. Get it over here. And see how I kind of curved that line here, and again at the bottom over here. That's what gave it the round look to it. Now, the next building I'm going to make is going to go towards the middle of the paper here. Towards the middle of the paper is where I made my next building. This one I made a little bit bigger, one I made a little bit smaller. But your building should be at least about 2 inches across and about the same as far as high. 2 inches here. And with the ruler, I'm doing everything just like I did the first time around. Gotta find like the middle spot of this. Go ahead and put this line up here 2 inches above above the bottom here. Make my roof by connecting the walls together. Then top together. Here, I'm sorry, the top with the side. Top of the roof with the, where the edge of the wall is here. And the same thing over here on this side. I also put a roof on here. This time I made the roof on the right side of my building instead of the left side of my building. Or not roof, gosh, what am I talking about, roof? I mean, the chimney. I already did the roof, but the chimney, I brought it over here like this. And that house is in my middle ground. Also in my middle ground here, I made, and this one's a little bit closer to the middle, but I made like a storage building here, or garage. Once again, this one's longer though. This one's like 3 inches. So you're building in your middle ground, you're going to want it to be at least 2 inches, but you can make it as big as 3 inches like I'm doing here. And the top of the roof, I went about 2.5 inches. Anyway, once again, I'm just going to kind of line everything up here. Remember, these middle lines are going to erase later on, but now just get them in there to give you something to work with. I'm going to connect my 2 walls of this kind of garage-like building together here. Then from the top of the roof to the top of the wall, I'm going to connect these 2 lines with my ruler too. And I'm going to connect these also with my ruler. Then I'm going to put a garage door in too. What I'm doing on here is I'm just kind of making sure that where I'm going to end my roof is going to be this, or not roof, my garage door here. I'm going to do it the same on this side as on this side. So I'm going to leave the same amount of space in between them like this. And actually, I don't even need this middle line anymore, so I'm just going to get it out of there. Middle line is done. And I'm going to make my garage door go a little bit more than halfway up. Whatever I do on one side, I need to do the same thing on the other side. Keep it the same height. And then with my ruler, I'm going to connect these 2 together with a nice horizontal line here. That's going to give me the top of my garage door here. Now on these ones here, I'm not going to, basically I showed you how to put the windows in over here, so I'm not going to take the time to go ahead and do that again because it's going to make it an awful long video if I do. But it's the same idea pretty much, except the windows are going to be smaller and the door is going to be smaller because it's further back into space. And now towards the top of your, towards the top here of the paper, you're going to make 1 more building. This one's going to be real tiny though. This one's going to be about 1 inch. Inch wide and 1 inch tall. Actually, my wall here is only 1/2 an inch, but then I'm going to go up another 1/2 inch here. Oh, I forgot to put the line going across here. Line, or I'm sorry, going up and down from the middle here. I'm going to connect my 2 walls together. And I'm going to connect top of my roof to the wall. Top of the roof to the wall again. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Once again, bottom is going to be 1 inch. Ruler here is going to be, I'm going to come up about 1/2 inch again on the wall. Another 1/2 inch on the wall over here. Connect these 2 together. And by the way, these measurements don't have to be exactly right. We just want to make sure that we go from large to small, small. Well, actually, you're going to go biggest, medium, smallest to get your 3 buildings. Do want you to use the ruler though to make the straight lines. Notice all through this I've been using the ruler. I haven't been just drawing the lines without using the ruler. And this one I gave a chimney to also. And once again, I'm not gonna make you watch me put in all the little windows and doors, because that'd take too long. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do though is now I'm gonna show you how I want you to make a horizon line. The horizon line I made on this one is gonna start right about where the back of this house is here. And then what I did was I curved it down. Curved it down behind this garage. And then I made another little hill behind the garage like this, to give myself my horizon line, the line that separates the land from the sky. What this is called, this part here, is actually a visible horizon line. Now the horizon line does get blocked out here by this building here and by this building here. So you're not going to see the whole horizon line, but you see part of it. This one over here I did similar. I started from behind this house here. Tucked it behind this house and went downward. Oops. Part of the chimney actually blocked it out there, but I ran through the chimney by accident, and that's why I'm glad I have an eraser handy. No problem. What I also did here was made another hill going behind here a little bit. And once again, you see I have my horizon line now. Last thing I need to show you is putting the roads in, or paths, roads, path, whatever you want to call it. To do that, I started this one off from back here, behind this house. And I made a line and I curved it. Just one single line right now. curved it right off the side of the paper like this. And then this one over here, I believe, let's see. I'm gonna have to look at this as my reference because I didn't make a copy dark enough to see where I put mine in here. Oh, this one I brought up and I went in front of this house here. From in front of the house in the middle ground, brought it up here where it was getting blocked off by my big house here in the foreground, and then off the side of the page like this. Now on both of these, you gotta make 2 lines though. This is where you're gonna see how it gets bigger as it goes closer to the foreground. From the background to the foreground, this road is going to get wider. And it's gonna give a look of a distance here. The road's gonna look wider towards the foreground, and it's gonna get smaller as it goes back into space. Same thing over here on this one. This one here, I'm gonna run it, and it's gonna get wider and wider as it gets down towards the house in the foreground. And then I'm gonna pretend like I'm just drawing through the house. I really am not, but I'm getting it wider as I go here. And then as you can see, it's gonna look wider going off the page. And that's how you're gonna get yours. And here once again is a picture of this one where I added windows in. They're also in my examples. Notice on the house in the middle ground here, I made some wide windows in it. And you can do that too. You can make windows different sizes. Some even different shapes if you like. Over here on the barn picture, I only made one house. Right up at the top, the farmhouse. Got the barn with the silo, garage for storage, and house at the top. Okay, that's it for today. As I mentioned before, please have these 3 buildings, the hill, the road, and the horizon line drawn and ready to go for next week. We're going to do more drawing next week. I'm going to be teaching a little bit about adding some trees to the landscape. And then we might even get into a little bit of coloring if we have enough time. One other thing, for those of you who have still not turned in your name tags to me or your unusual automobiles, please get them into me. I know that the unusual automobiles are due today by the end of the school day today, which is 3:30. But, and the other ones are past due. Just the same, I will take them anyway. Because I know with math, reading, writing, you might not have as much time to do my projects, and I know that and I understand that. So as long as you get them into me, it's okay. Just make sure you do get them into me because I need to grade something. Have a terrific week, everybody, and I will see you next week.